Good day everyone. Today I am going to present the 5 selected items of our final problem set, which is all about the indefinite integral. So by the way, I am Kimberly A. Salinas from 3SM. So we have to evaluate the following indefinite integrals. First is the integral of 3x squared minus 4x raised to negative 3 with respect to x. So using the property of integrals, we separate the terms. So we now have 3 times the integral of x squared with respect to x minus 4 times the integral of x raised to negative 3 with respect to x. So each term is integrated separately using the power rule. So for x squared, the exponent increases by 1 and the result is divided by the new exponent. For x raised to negative 3, the same rule applies, keeping track of the negative exponent. So we now have 3 times x cubed over 3 minus 4 x raised to negative 2 over negative 2 plus c, which accounts for any constant terms in the antiderivatives. So we now have 3x cubed over 3 minus 4x raised to negative 2 over negative 2 plus c. Then simplify, we got x cubed plus 2 over x squared plus c. So the integral of 3x squared minus 4x raised to negative 3 with respect to x is equals to x cubed plus 2 over x squared plus c. Next is the integral of the cube root of x with respect to x. So this can be rewritten as the integral of x raised to 1 over 3 with respect to x. Then apply the power rule for integration. So we add 1 to the exponent and divide by the new exponent. So the result will be x raised to 1 over 3 plus 1 all over 1 over 3 plus 1 plus the constant of the integration, which is the c. Then simplify the exponent, x raised to 4 over 3 all over 4 over 3 plus c. So dividing by 4 over 3 is the same as multiplying its reciprocal 3 over 4. So we now have the result 3 over 4 x raised to the power of 4 over 3 plus c. So the integral of the cube root of x with respect to x is equals to 3 over 4x raised to the power of 4 over 3 plus c. Next is the integral of the fraction 2x raised to 4 plus 1 over x cubed with respect to x. So this fraction can be separated into two terms by dividing each term in the numerator by the denominator. So we now have 2 times the integral of x raised to 4 over x cubed with respect to x plus 1 times the integral of 1 over x cubed with respect to x. So simplify the powers of x. So we got 2 times the integral of x with respect to x plus 1 times the integral of x raised to negative 3 with respect to x. So apply the power rule of integration. We now have 2 times the quantity of x squared over 2 plus 1 times the quantity of x raised to negative 2 over negative 2 plus the constant c. So we now have 2x squared over 2 plus x raised to negative 2 over 2 plus c. Then simplify, we got x squared minus 1 over 2x squared plus c. So the integral of the fraction 2x raised to 4 plus 1 over x cubed with respect to x is equals to x squared minus 1 over 2x squared plus c. Next is the integral of the quantity of x raised to 1/3 plus 1 all raised to 3/2 over x raised to 2/3 with respect to x. So we can rewrite this into the integral of x raised to negative 2/3 times the quantity of x raised to 1/3 plus 1 all raised to 3/2. So we'll let u equals to x raised to 1/3 plus 1 and the derivative of u is equals to 1/3 x raised to negative 2/3 with respect to x. So we can also rewrite this into 3du is equals to x raised to negative 2/3 with respect to x. So we now have the integral of u raised to 3/2 times 3du. So we should separate the terms. So we now have 3 times the integral of u raised to 3/2 times 3du. And apply the power rule of integration. So we now have 3 times u raised to 5/2 all over 5/2. Then simplify, we now have 6 over 5 u raised to 5/2. Then substitute the value of u, which is x raised to 1/3 plus 1. So we now have 6 over 5 times the quantity of x raised to 1/3 plus 1 all raised to 5/2 plus c. So the integral of x raised to negative 2/3 times x raised to 1/3 plus 1 all raised to 3/2 with respect to x is equals to 6 over 5 times the quantity of x raised to 1/3 plus 1 all raised to 5/2 plus c. For the last item, we have the integral of cosine raised to 4x sine x with respect to x. So we'll let u is equals to cosine x, then the derivative of cosine x is negative sine x with respect to x. So we now have the integral of cosine raised to 4x sine x with respect to x is equals to the negative integral of u raised to 4 du. So apply the power rule of integration. We now have negative u raised to 5 all over 5. Then substitute the value of u, which is the cosine x. So we now have negative cosine raised to 5x all over 5 plus c. So the integral of cosine raised to 4x sine x with respect to x is equals to negative cosine raised to 5x all over 5 plus c. So that would be all. Thank you for listening.